changed to Joint Base Myer-Henderson Hall in 2009. Its main purpose was fortification in the defense of Washington. Since its inception, Joint Base Myer-Henderson Hall has been the home of horse cavalry, artillery, and infantry. Today, it is home to the Old Guard, the United States Army Band, and the United States Army Garrison. Before today's review begins, the United States Army Band, Pershing Zone, presents a pre-ceremonial concert featuring the following musical selections: American Soldier and America the Beautiful. Once again, good morning and welcome. Today, the United States Army Military District of Washington, represented by the soldiers of the 3rd United States Infantry Regiment, the Old Guard, and the United States Army Band, Pershing's Own, pay a special tribute to Lieutenant General Darrell K. Williams, Director, Defense Logistics Agency, United States Army, who is retired after 37 years of distinguished service to the United States Army and our nation. Participating in today's ceremony from left to right is the United States Army Band, Pershing's Own. Formed in 1922 by then Army Chief of Staff, General John J. Pershing, the United States Army Band is the premier band of our senior service. Pershing's Own provides musical support for ceremonies and special events in our nation's capital and throughout the United States. The United States Army Band is under the direction of Major Dae Kim and led by Drum Major Rob Moore. Elements of the Old Guard include Bravo Company, commanded by First Lieutenant Thomas McGuire, and led by Sergeant First Class Nigel Cox. Next on line is Delta Company, commanded by First Lieutenant Timothy Clark, and led by Sergeant First Class Jason Hickman. Since the days of the American Revolution, the colors have been one of the most important elements of a military unit. Therefore, in the center of our formation and bearing the national color is the nation's foremost color team, the 3rd Infantry's Continental Color Guard, led by Sergeant Jose Lopez. Next on line is Honor Guard Company, commanded by First Lieutenant Jake Kaplan, and led by Sergeant First Class John Robinson. Following is the Commander-in-Chief's Guard, patterned after the unit created by General George Washington in 1776 to be his personal guard. The Commander-in-Chief's Guard is commanded by Captain Ian Quinn and led by Sergeant First Class Earl Thomas. Next on line is Regimental Support Company, commanded by Captain Michelle Sue and led by First Sergeant Antonio Crawley. The last element to your left, dressed in the Continental Musician's uniform, is the United States Army Old Guard Fife and Drum Corps. During the American Revolution, musicians wore the reverse colors of their parent infantry unit. The men and women of the United States Army Old Guard Fife and Drum Corps maintain this tradition by wearing red coats instead of the infantry blue. The Corps is led today by Drum Major Beth Ford. Ladies and gentlemen, moving into position is the commander of troops for today's ceremony, Lieutenant Colonel David M. Lamborn, Commander, 4th Battalion, 3rd United States Infantry Regiment, the Old Guard.
Staff, desk center, dress. Staff, ready, front.
The history of the 3rd United States Infantry Regiment reflects the growth and development of our nation. 52 well-earned campaign streamers, 2 Valorous Unit Awards, 5 Meritorious Unit Commendations, and 5 Superior Unit Awards attest to the Old Guard's record of bravery in action and achievements during peacetime. Ladies and gentlemen, taking the reviewing stand is the reviewing official for today's ceremony, Lieutenant General Darrell K. Williams, accompanied by the host, General Stephen R. Lyons, Commander, United States Transportation Command. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand as honors are rendered and remain standing for the invocation given by Chaplain Colonel Thomas Helms, Executive Officer to the Chief of Chaplains.
Present. Arms. Staff. Present. Arms.
Ladies and gentlemen, Chaplain Helms.
I invite you to bow your heads with me in prayer. Almighty God, we recognize you as the true master of all logistics. We recognize that you have orchestrated Lieutenant General Williams' career as a calling for him and his family to be able to serve both his fellow man and his country. As they have sustained our warfighters, we pray that you will continue to sustain them. As they have increased our readiness, we know that you will be ready to lead them into green pastures, beside still waters, and may your grace and mercy follow them all the days of their lives. Father, we pray that you'll bless this ceremony. Bless the United States of America with healing, our army. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Please be seated.
Troop in review.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the advancing of the colors and remain standing for the United States National Anthem.
Colors, forward, march! Detachment, present arms. Detachment, order, arms.
Please be seated.
Order, arms. Order, ceremonial, at ease. Staff, ceremonial, at ease.
The Defense Distinguished Service Medal is awarded to Lieutenant General Darrell K. Williams for exceptionally distinguished service as Director, Defense Logistics Agency, from May 2017 to September 2020. During this period, his outstanding leadership and tireless resolve contributed significantly to the national security of the United States. As the Director of the nation's Combat Logistics Support Agency, General Williams led a workforce of 26,000 civilians and military personnel positioned in 48 states and 28 countries. He managed a $42 billion enterprise consisting of 9 supply chains and nearly 6.1 million items. General Williams displayed extraordinary leadership by establishing a dynamic strategic plan for the agency that placed the highest priority on serving the combatant commands, the military services, and the whole of the government. At the same time, he brought positive strategic focus to the agency's people and culture, vigorously pursued strategic engagement opportunities, and promoted sound financial stewardship. The distinctive accomplishments of General Williams culminate a long and distinguished career in the service of his country and reflect great credit upon himself, the United States Army, and the Department of Defense. Signed, Mark T. Esper, Secretary of Defense. The Lieutenant General Arthur J. Gregg Leadership Award was established in 2016 to recognize those who demonstrate lifelong leadership, excellence, and extraordinary accomplishments in support of our warfighters. The United States Army Lieutenant General Arthur J. Gregg Leadership Award is presented to Lieutenant General Darrell K. Williams for exemplary service, for significant and measurable contributions to Army sustainment operations, and for serving as a role model whose success can be emulated by all. Signed, General Edward M. Dowey, Commanding General, Army Material Command, and Lieutenant General Dwayne A. Gamble, Deputy Chief of Staff, Army G4. Department of the Army Special Orders. By order of the Secretary of the Army, the following General Officer is retired: Lieutenant General Darrell K. Williams. Lieutenant General Williams is being presented the United States flag in recognition of his time-honored service to the United States Army and the nation. The Distinguished Public Service Award is being presented to Mrs. Myra R. Williams for exceptionally distinguished public service to the soldiers and families of the United States Army from June 2017 through August 2020. Mrs. Williams served as an exemplary family readiness group leader, volunteer to multiple community service organizations, and elementary school teacher of military and local community children. She participated in numerous public and private events with the President of the United States and senior officials across the Department of Defense. She exemplifies the patriotism, deep compassion, and spirit of volunteerism that the military relies on to meet its readiness requirements during times of intensive operational tempo. Mrs. Williams' distinctive accomplishments across 33 years of selfless volunteer service are a great credit to her and the United States Army. Signed, Ryan D. McCarthy, Secretary of the Army. On the occasion of the retirement of this distinguished soldier, we also recognize the outstanding dedicated service and support of his spouse, Mrs. Williams. Therefore, she is being presented the Department of the Army Certificate of Appreciation. At this time, Lieutenant General Williams is presenting Mrs. Williams a bouquet of roses in recognition of her support and dedication. Also at this time, a bouquet of red roses are being presented to Lieutenant General Williams' daughter Jocelyn, and coins are being presented to his son Colin and his son-in-law Geron. We are proud to recognize Lieutenant General and Mrs. Williams' devotion to our country, and we wish them happiness and prosperity in their well-earned retirement.
Old guard. Attention.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the posting of the colors.
Post the colors. Staff, right? Face.
Please be seated.
Ceremonial. At ease. Set at ease. Staff. Ceremonial. At ease.
Ladies and gentlemen, General Lyons.
What a great day to be a soldier. I tell you, these ceremonies, they never get old. What a fantastic job. Well, good morning to everybody that's able to attend here personally and virtually. And thank you for joining us to honor Lieutenant General Darrell Williams and the Williams family. Today is foremost an opportunity for Darrell to thank those who are a critical part of his exceptional career. But before we allow him to do that, let me take the opportunity to offer him our deep gratitude and thanks. There's no question today's bittersweet, knowing that you've successfully completed the race and set the next generation up for success, but also acknowledging the sense of loss that comes with leaving a profession that has filled your days with passion and love for country, love for our Army and its soldiers. To all the guests here in the room and virtually, thank you for taking time to be part of this event. Darrell and Myra, I can't thank you enough for allowing Maureen and I to be part of this ceremony marking the end of a great 37-year career. I know here today, Honorable Jordan Gillis, sure it's great to have you here as Assistant Secretary of Defense for Sustainment. General Carter, thank you, sir, for being here. I'm confident that General Brooks and probably Carol are online, as well as General Vi, as well as many, many other supporters and mentors of Darrell Williams and his family. And a special shout out to General Arthur Gregg, Lieutenant General retired, 92 years young, sir. Thanks for being here. Thank you very much. Enlisted in the United States Army in 1946. It's wonderful to have you here. And how about a round of applause for the awesome soldiers of the Old Guard representing the 3rd Infantry Division, Regiment, and serving our nation since 1784. Ladies and gentlemen, how about a round of applause? Well, of all the special guests who have been so instrumental in Darrell's success, none have been more so than his family. He's joined today by his wife, Myra, daughter, Jocelyn, and her husband, Jaron, and son, Colin, a recent graduate of GW Law School. This entire family has clearly served with distinction. In a few weeks, Myra and Darrell will celebrate 33 years of marriage. Congratulations to you both. Myra has been fundamental to Darrell's success since her first date in 1983. In addition to supporting Darrell in 28 different Army jobs and raising Jocelyn and Colin, Myra has been an incredible military spouse, from leadership roles in various family readiness groups to directly supporting families on post with nonstop volunteerism. And throughout her career, not to mention her pursuing her own profession as a teacher. There was never any doubt that Darrell and Myra were all in as an Army command team. Myra, Maureen, and I have been recipients of your kindness, your warmth, and your love for those around you, and we wish you the best and hope that you will keep in touch. Thank you for all that you have done. Jocelyn and Colin, thank you for being part of this great Army team. There's a saying that soldiers volunteer, that spouses quasi-volunteer, while the military child is in an involuntary status, cast into a culture they did not choose, exposed to frequent moves, new schools, activities, and friends. To military children, that's normal. And I'm always so impressed by their worldly perspective and propensity for selfless service. And so to Jocelyn and Colin, I know how proud your parents are of you. Thank you from the bottom of our heart. I also want to recognize Darrell's siblings, who I believe are online watching: Claudia, Leola, James Jr., Ellen, Cynthia, and Michael, as well as Darrell's sister-in-law, Myra's sister Natalie, and her husband, Michael, and so many others that have been part of this great Williams family. To appreciate the importance of this event, we should look back at the man behind the uniform. And for General Williams, that means going back to West Palm Beach, Florida. Darrell's parents, Ida Mae and James Sr., exemplified a strong work ethic and faith, which was instrumental to the success upbringing of 9 children. And it's great to have so many of you online right now supporting number 8 of the Williams bunch. By the way, Darrell says that having 5 sisters was more like having 6 moms. Even today, as a 3-star general, he still has to run the big decisions by his sisters. After high school, he headed off to Hampton University, renowned for producing exceptional historical leaders like Booker T. Washington. I know there are several Hampton University alum watching today, so let me say thank you for having such an instrumental role in Darrell's development into a great Army leader. So the career of this great officer. In 1983, General Williams swore an oath to the Constitution and joined the storied history of this great United States Army, a team of warrior professionals that have contributed and sacrificed so much to preserve this unique American experiment in democracy. Ladies and gentlemen, there is no mystery behind the continued success of that experiment. And it is because in every generation, brave men and women, like Lieutenant General Williams, have stepped forward and answered the call to serve, and some longer than most. In 1983, the Army assessed around 6,900 second lieutenant officers. Less than 0.5% would rise to the rank of general officer. General Williams joined at the height of the Cold War. He served in Korea, Germany, Kosovo, experienced the trauma of 9/11. He served in Iraq and Afghanistan. He commanded at every level. He commanded a battalion in the 3rd Division where we first met. Darrell and Myra were the command team to emulate. Later, he would command a brigade in the 3rd Infantry Division and lead that brigade in combat in Iraq for 16 months. And I remember, as a fellow brigade commander at the time, rolling in to support his division, the 3rd Division, General Ricky Lynch was not happy that Darrell Williams was not providing support to his sector, and I absolutely understood why. He had such a phenomenal reputation. As a flag officer, he was a PACOM J4, commander of DLA Land and Maritime, commander of the 1st Theater Sustainment Command, was the Chief of Staff at Army Material Command. He was responsible for all CENTCOM logistics. As CASCOM commander, he designed future Army logistics capability. And as director of the Defense Logistics Agency, as you just heard, a multi-billion-dollar enterprise, he transformed strategic logistics to a warfighting focus, linking supply chains to weapon system performance. Simply incredible. 14 years of his career were spent in command. Most in this audience appreciate that command is the ultimate test of leadership, where the commander leaves behind a legacy that exists long after he departs. What's interesting about General Williams' journey, and we were talking before we came out here, is that he never intended to stay past his 4-year ROTC commitment, much less the 37 years. He never considered the possibility of becoming the less than 1% who make it to general officer. He initially planned to separate and get his PhD. He worked hard, though, and he found being a soldier professionally rewarding. He came to respect and love the people that he worked with. Just as he started to master a job, he was off to something more challenging. He felt like he was making a difference in people and making a lasting contribution to national defense. He understood the value of high standards and pushing people out of their comfort zone to achieve what they thought was out of their reach. As a result, General Williams' units always exhibited strong cohesion, teamwork, pride, all the characteristics of a high-performing organization. He knew from the example set by his parents that he was not made for comfort. He worked hard every day with a positive attitude. He learned early on that true success has less to do with rank, position, and salary than most people think. True success, linked to servant leadership and a willingness to invest in others with a pure heart and to stand up to be counted on when the going gets tough. Most of all, he understood that while mission success does count, leadership has a bigger purpose than accomplishing the mission. It requires investing in people in an environment of dignity and respect in order to develop the next generation that will follow in his footsteps. And ladies and gentlemen, that is the great news today. As General Williams hangs up his uniform, where it will inevitably shrink, there are scores of bright stars in the ranks that were at one time protégés of Lieutenant General Williams. And equally so, There is a generation of military families that have been shaped by Myra's unending love and concern who now know what right looks like and will pay it forward. So my guess is, in retrospect, he would not have traded the last 37 years for his original plan to go 4 years and get a PhD. Darrell, you have risen to the top of this military profession, respected by Americans far and wide. Today, less than 1% of military-age populations serve in uniform. That makes General Williams a part of a small few committed to preserving our freedom and liberties outlined in that Constitution. His positive impact will be felt for many years to come, and his lifetime of dedication, leadership, and service is inspirational. How about a round of applause for this great officer? Now, I have to say, when people learned that I was officiating today's ceremony, I was flooded with emails from people like General Brooks and General Vi and General Stevenson and Christensen and Proctor and Honorable Estevez and so many others. And I received notes from those that work for you, and when asked for reflections on General Williams' leadership, common themes emerged. A leader of great character, steadfast, trustworthy, and professional, the ultimate Army command team, and our Army is better and stronger for his service. So Darrell and Myra, today marks the close of one chapter, a chapter filled with moments of hardship balanced with celebration, separation followed by happy reunion. Tomorrow is the beginning of the next chapter. As you settle into your new home, you have earned the right to look back on your time in the Army with pride. This Williams family has given so much to the Army for the defense of this nation, and on behalf of the Army, I thank you for your service. And I'll close with this. Most in this audience know that every soldier commits themselves to the soldier's creed, a standard by which all U.S. Army soldiers are expected to live. And I reacclimated with that creed this past summer as I was rucking with my son as he was preparing to go to West Point and digest all that great warrior knowledge. But it dawned on me, for you, Darrell, to paraphrase this creed in the context of your career. For the last 37 years, you have been an exceptional guardian of freedom and American way of life. You have lived the Army values and served the people of this nation honorably. You have always placed the mission first. You have never accepted defeat. You have never quit. You have never left a fallen comrade. You have remained worthy of the public trust and earned the respect and admiration of Americans far and wide. You are, Darrell, and will remain an exceptional American soldier for life. With that, we thank you and Myra for an exceptional career of leadership and selfless service, and may God bless you in all future endeavors. Thank you very much.
Old guard. Attention. Ceremonial. At ease. Ho! Stand at ease. Staff. Ceremonial. At ease.
Ladies and gentlemen, Lieutenant General Williams.
Well, good morning, everyone. I would like to begin by acknowledging the attendance, at least in spirit, of my parents, James and Ida Mae Williams, who are both deceased. And so when I graduated from Twin Lakes High School and left home in 1979, bound for Hampton Institute, Hampton, Virginia, two impactful things happened during a parting conversation with my mother. First, she said, "Son, I love you," which struck me because anyone who knows my mother knows that she didn't say that very often. We felt it, we knew it, but it's not something that she said. And the next thing she said was, "Remember that a little common sense, some hard work, and treating people right will take you a long way." I've come to understand the power of her wisdom, and not so coincidentally, the centerpiece of my leadership philosophy during the course of my career evolved into one simple principle, and that was, if you take care of people, the mission will happen. It is a direct descendant of the treating people right seed that Ida Mae Williams planted so many decades ago. With that said, good morning again, everyone. Meyer and I want to thank you all from the bottom of our hearts for attending our retirement ceremony today. To the Old Guard and the Army Band, another magnificent performance. Ladies and gentlemen, the troops in front of you are emblematic of the men and women serving all over the world in harm's way, protecting our ability to have a ceremony like this one in safety and freedom. The old Chrysler Dodge dealership in my hometown when I grew up had a commercial they used to run that I remember to this day. And the gentleman would always say, "I don't care who you know or where you go, you just can't find a better deal." Well, this organization's well-earned reputation for excellence remains the gold standard by which all ceremonies are judged, not just in the United States military, but across the world. To our protocol team, and especially Mr. Mark Ramirez, thank you for organizing this special event. And I want to say thank you to the chaplain for providing such inspiring words. My family and I are grateful to all of you for placing the proverbial mint on the pillow of our long Army career. And so to General Lyons, thank you for hosting our ceremony today, sir. There's no one that I respect any more than this exceptional general officer. When he and I both entered the Army in 1983, and sir, I believe we're the last two logisticians from the class of 1983 remaining on active duty, at least for a very short period, there was no higher honor than to be considered a warfighting logistician. And that meant that throughout the course of your career and your service, you would understand logistics from what we call the foxhole to the factory, across the entire United States Army, across all of the military services, and across the global strategic logistics enterprise. But no matter how senior you became, whether or not you became a colonel or a brigadier general or a four-star general, you would never forget that at the end of the day, our mission was to support the troops at the end of the spear, the warfighter. And as his remarks indicated, our families have known each other for over 2 decades. And I can say with full confidence that there's no one that exemplifies the warfighter logistician spirit than General Steve Lyons. But sir, as good as you are, and with all due respect, I have to say that your wife, Maureen Lyons, is better. She just is. She's just better. And so, ladies and gentlemen, it's not lost on Meyer and I what it takes in the current environment for General Lyons and Maureen to come here to host our ceremony from Scott Air Force Base, and we simply want to say thanks. I would ask you to give our host today a round of applause. Thank you, sir. And then again to Lieutenant General Gregg, sir, thank you for coming today. Words cannot adequately express what it means to receive an award that bears your name. You are a true living legend, and we continue to benefit from your trailblazing example and your continued service to our nation. I would ask everyone to give General Gregg, 92 years young, another round of applause. Thank you, sir. I want to say thank you to the Secretary of the Army, Honorable McCarthy, to General McConville for the privilege of serving as a general officer and for entrusting me to represent the Army as the 19th Director of the Defense Logistics Agency. I'd also like to thank the Honorable Ellen Lord, the Department of Defense Undersecretary for Acquisition and Sustainment, for her steadfast support of DLA for the past 3 years. And then Honorable Gillis, sir, thank you for coming today, and thank you for your steadfast support for both me and for that phenomenal agency. I'd also like to thank General Perna in his absence for his exceptional leadership and for his continued service to our nation, to General Ed Daly, the new Army Materiel Command Commander, and then to Lieutenant General Dwayne Gamble, who I believe is here today, our Army G4. Next, I want to thank those tens of thousands of soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marine, Coast Guardsmen, and yes, civilians with whom I've served. I'm standing on your shoulders, and I sincerely hope that I have represented you well and that I have proven worthy of your trust. I extend a special shout out to the senior enlisted leaders with whom I've served while in positions of command or directorship. First Sergeant Harwood, my very first senior enlisted leader at the company level. Sergeant Major Brenda Bryant, Kenny Patterson, Sergeant Major Brooks, Clifton Johnson, Nathaniel Bartee, Terry Parham, Charles Tobin, and Command Master Chief Bromstad from the Navy, who I believe is here today with his wife, Tina. My retirement today and every success that our units achieved is directly attributable to your outstanding leadership, often under life and death situations. Thank you for taking care of our troops and our families, for your friendship, for being true battle buddies, and for being the backbone of the best armed forces in the world. Your example, and the example that you set for me and for our troops, made me a better officer. The same is true for Mr. Mike Scott and Ted Case, who served as my vice directors at the Defense Logistics Agency. Thank you. To all of my mentors out there, General Vi, General Brooks, General Austin, General Ham, thank you for coming today, sir. General Dunwoody, Wilson, Perkins, Christensen, Ward, Stevenson, Lynch, Gregg, Mason, Mangum, whose shoulder boards I wear today, Jim Hodge, Jerry Johnson, and the ever-present Pete Proctor, Colonel Chris Androck, and of course the Honorable Estevez, and so many, many more. Thank you all for supporting and believing in me and helping to take care of my family. To Brigadier General Larry Gillespie of the Rocks Incorporated, thanks for continuing to grow the next generation of leaders, supporting leaders like myself, and mentoring those that are still on active duty. To my Twin Lakes High School class of 1979, who's online, I simply want to say, go Rams. To my Hampton family, I believe many are in the audience today, I say, go Pirates. And to the men of the greatest fraternity on the planet, the Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, I'll simply say 06. I can't thank you all enough for your steadfast support. I would like to recognize my mother-in-law and father-in-law who were not able to attend today, Mr. and Mrs. Frank Richardson, for their love and support. I know they were a little skeptical of me some 33 years ago when this Army guy wanted to walk their daughter down the aisle and go traipsing and gallivanting all over the world with their grandchildren. Mom and Dad, I think it worked out okay. But thank you for your love and support. To my wife, Myra, I think the count is 19 or 20 complete pack-up and moves during our 33 years of marriage. You have selflessly supported me. You have supported not just me, but all of our military families. You've sub-optimized your own career. You've taken care of our family, and you've made me a more effective leader. I want to say I love you, I thank you, and I know that you'll find a way in the coming years for me to pay all of that back. And so, thank you very much. Please give my wife a round of applause. Thank you. As with most military families, General Lyons talked earlier, Jocelyn and Colin were also impacted by my career and all of our moves. Jocelyn, you attended 3 different high schools in 4 years, and you and I were a part each of 3 of the 4 years while you were in high school. And I was completely on the other side of the world in either Hawaii or Ohio while you were in Virginia for almost all of your time in college. And Colin, you also attended 3 high schools in your 4 years, and I was not there 2 of those 4 years to include your senior year. Make no mistake about it, although only one person in the military family draws a paycheck from the Army, everybody serves. The military has been a great life for this family, but I wanted to publicly acknowledge your love, sacrifice, and your steadfast support. You two are among my best friends and confidants, and I'm very, very proud of the adults that you have become. And so as I prepare to leave the Army, I'd like to briefly mention a few things that I've learned along the way. None of it is particularly revolutionary, but these are some of the things that have resonated with me. First and foremost, leadership and standards really do make a difference. The best organizations that I've been a part of during the course of my career were defined by its leaders. Some of the essential characteristics that I've witnessed in the leaders that I admire most: character and authenticity, vision, integrity, and humility, passion and competence, those who put people first, those who produce results with no excuses, leaders who mentor others, leadership that breathes resilience into organizations because not every day will be a good day, leaders who promote positivity and teamwork, those who promote leadership by example, leadership that maintains a sense of humor even in the midst of crisis, and finally, leadership that enforces standards. And so as a young hotshot second lieutenant, I reported to Fort Bragg, North Carolina in 1985, fresh off of a tour in Korea and having graduated from parachute rigger school at Fort Lee. I reported to my new battalion commander at the time, Lieutenant Colonel John Dawley, may he rest in peace, of the mighty 530th Supply and Service Super Leg Battalion that many of you will remember. Well, Lieutenant Colonel Dawley was pretty intimidating at about 6'4", about 6'5", 6'6", 240 pounds. And I arrived with my starch uniform, spit-shine boots, and rocking a very nice mustache that I had honed at Hampton University and during my first tour. When I knocked on his door and snapped a perfect salute, he looked up and he wouldn't return my gesture. He said, "Lieutenant Williams, in this battalion, we wear well-groomed mustaches. Mine is well-groomed," and he wasn't wearing one. He said, "When you get a well-groomed mustache, son, you come back and see me." And so I had only been in the battalion for 5 minutes, and I'd already been chewed out by the lieutenant-eating battalion commander, Lieutenant Colonel Dawley. I raced home, shaved, came back about an hour later, presented a salute, and this time he stood up in his chair, shook my hand, and said, "Williams, welcome to the battalion." I learned early that it's all about standards, and our Army is the best Army in the world, largely because of the emphasis on leadership and insistence on standards. Next, I think Ida Mae Williams was exactly right. People are the secret sauce of any organization. Yes, we're taught some version of this principle from the moment that we enter the Army, but sometimes it takes a little while to sink in. Our military is first and foremost a people business, and organizations that take care of people and build trust and confidence between leaders and subordinates are, in fact, the best. At several points in one's career and on some faraway battlefield or in the air or on board a ship or in a submarine in harm's way, our very lives depend upon each other. And while strategic direction, vision, and guidance are important, at the end of the day, our missions are accomplished by people. What I've also learned during my interfaces with countries and other militaries all over the world as part of my military duties is that while America isn't perfect and that we must always strive to make her better, she remains the best nation in the world, and that our flag, our Constitution, and the American ideal is still worth fighting for. My grandfather, Sam Stevens, my father, James E. Williams Sr., and several of my uncles fought as part of the greatest generation of World War II. My cousin fought in Korea, my brother in Vietnam, my sister served during the Vietnam era, my youngest brother is a career Florida Guardsman, and a host of others in my family continue to serve. It has been my singular honor to wear the cloth of our nation for 37 years. This has been my charge, but it's important for every American to serve in his or her own way. It's everyone has to fight for her, fight for her, fight for her. Finally, I discovered years ago that this journey was never about me. It was merely God's plan for my life. My task was to try and walk faithfully down the path laid out in front of me. It's inconceivable that on August the 21st of 2020, a boy from humble beginnings of a subsection of West Palm Beach, Florida called Pleasant City, the grandson of sharecroppers from the Pelham and Cairo, Georgia era back in the early 1900s, will retire from the Army as a three-star general. It's humanly impossible to script the path through the multiple assignments, deployments all over the world, all while ensuring the safety of my family. I didn't believe Bishop M.L. Jackson when he told me as a young lieutenant colonel in 2001 that he had had a dream that one day I would wear multiple stars. But in the words of a song by my deceased sister Brenda Joyce Lewis, I believe that the reason that I'm standing here today is merely because he chose me. First, he provided me with an unbelievable family who instilled strong values from a very early age. I've also had incredible spiritual mentors and counselors at every stop along the way, countless military chaplains and pastors such as Pastor Burrs from my home church, Peaceful Zion Missionary Baptist Church, Pastor Torian from right here in Woodbridge, Bishop M.L. Jackson from Hinesville, Pastor Scruggs from Huntsville, Pastor Diggs from Petersburg, and of course, Pastor Howard John Wesley right here from Alfred Street Baptist Church in Alexandria. And so many others have lifted both me and my family up in prayer. Most every veteran can point to a challenging point in his or her career where they were unsure about making it through a particular deployment or a convoy or a mission or even just a training exercise or a family hardship. I thank God for placing these men and women in my path. As I close, I wanted to save some of the very best for last to my sisters and brothers. Claudia, Leola, James, Brenda, rest in peace, Ellen, Ronald, rest in peace, Cynthia, and my brother Michael. You and our parents gave me something that money can't buy, true love and support, and a constant reminder of who I am and what I represent, and the promise to keep my childhood secrets within the family. I want to thank Dr. Van and Mrs. Linda Dunn for being here today to represent our side of the family. I would like to thank my lifelong best friend, Lieutenant Colonel retired Brian Butler, who is joining us online today with his wife, Maureen, and a shout out to his daughter, Allison. Allison, I got you. Brad Jeffries, the best man in my wedding, and I was the best man in his family that are here today. Thank you. Michael and Natalie Allen and Rodney Richardson, who are joining us online today, thank you. Rick and Bee Richardson, who are here today, thank you. And to my wife's entire side of the family, who has been so supportive of us throughout the years, we could not have done it without you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it has been a tremendous ride. But how does a soldier know when it's time to retire? And so I picked up on 5 indicators before I leave. And so number 5 was, When at the end of your 5-mile run, you get ready to kick into high gear, and you realize that your get up and go then got up and went. It's a signal that it might be getting close to time to retire. The next indicator is when your wife and your children know the Army song and the 3rd Infantry Division Dog-Faced Soldier song better than Beyonce's favorite hits, and when the captains and majors weren't even born when you came into the Army and they're the same age as your own children, it might be getting close to time to retire. Next, you might want to think about retirement when you sit down at the breakfast table and you hear snap, crackle, and pop, and you're not eating cereal. It might be getting close to time to retire. And the top reason that you might know that it's time to retire is that when you look back over the course of a career and say with a smile that I've served my country faithfully, I've mentored as many as I can of the next generation along the way, I've given it all that I have, and that I have absolutely no regrets. Meyer and I still love this country, and we would do it all over again. And even in retirement and as a soldier for life, I will fight for her. May God continue to bless each and every one of you. May He bless our troops and our families and all of those that are still serving in harm's way. May He continue to bless our Army, and may God continue to richly bless the United States of America. People first, winning matters, Army strong. Thank you.
Old guard. Attention. Right shoulder. Oh. Right, right.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Army Song. The United States Army is honored to have presented today's special ceremony. Thank you for attending and enjoy the rest of your day.